Good morning. I want to thank you guys for coming, participating in this training event. I'm here to Roger Harris. I'm from CCI Engineering Services. I'm here to discuss NFPA 70E and NFPA 70B. Maintenance training for here, general maintenance and safety training, and then we're going to get into very, very specific maintenance training here at the Southerly plant. Some of you who participated in this before, all of it before, will recognize some of the topics that are covered, recognize probably some of the slides. It has changed somewhat due to your feedback last time. I appreciate that very much, by the way. I appreciate your feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like. I added more NFPA 70B stuff, changed the handouts a little bit, got a little bit more specific into the maintenance portion of the equipment. House rules, remember this from last time. I'm not really here to sell you anything. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not going to show you dead burnt bodies. I won't show you videos of dead burnt bodies. I do have them if you want to see them. Really don't want to go that direction. I'm really here to talk to you about what you need to do for your safety and what you need to do to maintain your equipment. This presentation is rated PG-13. I will try to be as clean as possible. If that offends anyone here, I'll tell you right up front that I'm sorry, but it happens. The video version that they'll put on the web, it's their job and they're being paid handsomely for this, is to go through and clean me up. Make sure that it's all presentable for children at home. Please turn off your cell phones, put them on vibrate. I don't think anybody has a pager anymore, do they? No. Okay, good. All right. This presentation is actually 7 hours long. There's 4 15-minute breaks and a working lunch. I'm having lunch delivered here at Subway. Hope everybody's okay with that. But it will be delivered here. We will take a brief break to get your sandwiches and everything ready. Then when you sit back down, I'm going to continue yakking at you after I inhale a sub. Okay? If you're in this room, your participation is mandatory. As everyone knows from the last presentation, or if you ever see me present, I do want your feedback. Your feedback helps guide how the presentation goes, how the information is conveyed. I will try really hard to pick on each one of you individually as well as a group. But if you do heckle me, I will heckle you back. I will point you out even further. But I do want your participation. No one's being mean, no one's being vicious. Just really want this to be a two-way street. So this morning's session, roughly 3.5 hours long, we're going to talk about the OSHA requirements. We're going to talk about NFPA 70. We're going to talk about NFPA 70E. We're going to talk about electrical safety and shock. We're going to talk about electrical safety and arc flash. We're talking about the short circuit coordination study, not just any short circuit coordination study. We're going to be very specific and talk about your short circuit coordination study. Okay? We're going to go through some calculations, how short circuit coordination studies are developed, and then we'll have some questions and discussions as we go. Once again, I really like it when it's a two-way street. You guys are being really quiet this morning. This afternoon session, we're talking about NFPA 70B as in boy. And we're talking about your plant, your equipment, and your program. I have different handouts to provide you with different options for recording your equipment's condition, maintenance procedures, maintenance items. I have some from Jackson Pike. I have some from NFPA 70B, which are recommended. Okay? But ultimately it comes down to clean equipment is happy equipment. You see it, you clean it, you put it back in good working order, you lubricate it, you make sure that it's good and put it back. We're talking about the gas that you have here and what it does to copper and silver. Talking about the wonders of deox and moly lube and never sees. But there's more. We won't stop there. It rolls on into the afternoon session, which is maintenance of your equipment, your 15 kV breakers, your 5 kV breakers, your 5 kV starters. You probably know them as 2.4 kV starters, but they're actually rated for 5 kV. Transformers, your 600 volt power breakers, your 480 volt variable speed drives, and there will be always time for questions and discussion. In 1970, our government, our wonderful government, did some analysis. I'm sure they had a consultant do it, and they were paid handsomely. But there were 14,000 industrial deaths every year. 2.5 million industrial debilitating injuries every year. There are 300,000 occupational diseases every year. Don't ask me what an occupational disease is. I don't know. I don't care. But the United States Congress passed the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970, or OSHA. Okay? There is a general duty clause. It's required to require employers to provide a workplace that is free of recognized hazards. Now I say free of recognized hazards. How can you remove every single hazard? Truth is you can't, but you have to put programs in place where you do know that there are hazards when people like you and I, more so you than I, but when you are required to get into hazardous situations, you have to put rules in place. There has to be training involved. There has to be supervision of when you are placing yourselves in a hazardous environment, what you need to do in order to be as safe as possible. OSHA provides general details. They're about the 5,000 foot level. Take care of stuff and follow what is considered the national consensus. Follow best practice. Follow standards. There are certain things that are codes. Codes are thou shalls. Then there are standards. Standards are this is a good idea. Okay? Big difference between the two. The first NEC, National Electrical Code, was published in 1897. By the way, the first commercial power generator was placed in service in 1890. Notice the gap there? Yep. That is always, I am always amazed when the new code comes out and you find out some of the things that have changed. Why did those change? You know, what's the story behind that change? Because some of them are awful quirky. And then some of them that come out that are awful quirky, I'm always amazed when the next edition comes out that they don't go back and fix some of those quirks. There's a reason behind them. I'm sure someone has their pet peeve, but it's always amazing me how quirky things can be. So the NEC addresses the protection of people and property from the hazards of using electricity. Okay? So it's protecting our secretary. It's protecting our plant manager. It's protecting our operators. It is not there to protect you guys, okay? Really not what it's there for. It's intended for those who design, install, and inspect electrical installations. How am I, as an engineer, supposed to design that installation? How are you, as the electrician, supposed to install that installation of that circuit or that service? But it's really, its intention is there is to protect the people and the property of the users. Okay, the lady who plugs her typewriter, God, you can plug typewriters in anymore? Plugs her computer in, plugs the cameras in order to protect them. It's not really there to protect us. Many of the National Electrical Code articles do not directly address worker safety and the possibility of, there's a possibility, and matter of fact, in many places, there's conflicts between OSHA and the National Electrical Code. So they come up with NFPA 70E. NFPA 70E is a standard. It's not a code or law, it's a standard. This is a good idea. NFPA 70E was first published in 1979, and the idea behind it was to protect workers against electric shock. Okay, just the shock portion. That's it. Okay. 1995, it was updated. It was the first time it ever included requirements to protect against arc flash. Now, today's day and age, it's primarily all we hear about is arc flash, arc flash, arc flash, right? You guys are a municipality. Public worker safety laws incorporate OSHA requirements, okay? If you go down to the OSHA office and you say that I work for Southerly Wastewater Treatment Plant and OSHA doesn't apply, they'll tell you it does, okay? But if you go down to the city hall and you say, I've got an OSHA complaint, they're going to say OSHA doesn't apply. There's a conflict there, and everyone knows it exists, but all your municipal ordinances say follow OSHA guidelines. So in order to be compliant with OSHA, because that's the direction we're going to go here, okay, there's a facility must provide and be able to demonstrate a safety program with defined responsibilities. Okay, you guys have a hazardous energy control lockout safety program, lockout tagout safety program. The city is getting ready, and I know last time I was here I said this too, an energized electrical safety program, an energized work program. The city is getting ready to put that out. There was a change here in the city with their safety department. People moved around. They had several programs that were ready to be rolled out. They decided to take the easiest ones first. I think forklift was the first one that went out, but electrical safety is on the horizon. You will be seeing it. I was promised that. You need to, let me talk about the facility here and the management, need to provide calculations for the degree of arc flash hazard for every piece of energized equipment. Now that is per the most current NFPA 70E. If there is a potential there for there to be enough energy to provide an arc, to provide a flash, to injure someone, the 2012 NFPA 70E says you have to provide an arc flash label. It used to be on the 2009 70E, it was just a 480 volt distribution gear. So we stopped at the MCC level, okay? Nowadays, if we were to redo the arc flash study, it's to be every single service disconnect, every single motor disconnect, every single PLC cabinet. Anything that has enough power to provide an arc, to provide danger, has to be labeled, okay? That's the new one. Every arc flash study, short circuit coordination arc flash study, has to be revisited every 5 years or a major modification. Okay, what is a major modification? You guys are a very large plant. So what would a very major modification be? Change the 14-4 loop, untying the loop. You currently are operating now tied, correct? It's still tied together? Everybody shake your head, Chris. You don't know?
I haven't walked around the substations yet.
Oh, okay. As far as I know, your 14-4 loop is tied together. It's operating in a loop. A major change would be you decide or elect to not have it tied together into a loop. Okay? That would be considered a major change. Okay? Outside of that, if you put a 100 horsepower motor in, no, it's not going to change anything. Really won't. Take another service out of one of the substations to put another building in, that's pretty major change. That's pretty significant. Would that result in a whole plant study being redone? I don't know. I have to take a look at what was being done in order to make that decision. Okay, but when we say it's revisited every 5 years, if you don't do a change, that revisit is, you need to involve an engineer, okay? They get your study, they call AEP, Division of Electricity, they say, what's your short circuit out at the substation? If that hasn't changed, they come here, they say, have you guys made any major revisions in the last 5 years? You say no. So, well, there isn't really a need to revise your study. It's been looked at. Writes a nice little letter saying, I looked at it, short circuit hasn't changed, you haven't made any major revisions, everything's still compliant with the 2009 that it was run under, good to go, okay? You can do that through many iterations, okay, until something changes that requires a study to be redone, okay? Now, can the plant rerun the study every 5 years? As a consultant engineer, sure. I am more than happy to sell you that service, okay? Because if I get it this year, I'll be able to lowball it next year, because 5 years from now, because I know you haven't made any more major changes, and I'll make a hefty penny, and everybody's good, right? So whatever you guys want to do. When I say you guys, I'm talking plant here. That's a major decision. Neighborhood about $60,000 to $80,000 decision, okay, to redo this whole plant. Warning labels on equipment, kind of went over that. Current study that you guys are working off of was done under the 2009, I believe. Yes. was done under the 2009 standard. So it goes to every motor control center, major power distribution. It only goes to transformers, once it goes to 150 kV or less transformer, it doesn't have to go beyond that. The 2012 70E changed that. It's like a 135 kVA transformer, and they made it some weird size because someone was making a 150 kVA transformer. And the question was, well, it is, but the standard doesn't say this is the size that you have to and above, or this is the size you don't have to and below. There was anyway, so they moved it just a little bit, okay? Correct personal protective equipment, PPE for your workers, okay? Everybody here is wearing your correct personal protective equipment? I want to see head shake, yes, no? Yes, Chris? Seriously, dude? Your wrist guards are mostly plastic, okay? You would have to take those off. You're aware of that, okay? Your suspenders are mostly elastic. You would have to take those off. Not that I want to see your pants fall to the floor, because truly I don't, okay? But no, okay? If you were to be doing, and I'm pointing at you in particular, dude, if you were to be doing an energized, where you were required to wear arc flash protection equipment, matter of fact, if you were doing energized work, period, your tennis shoes wouldn't work.
I'm in training, sir. That's the reason I'm wearing them.
My name's Roger. You know that.
I do.
All right. You're presenting yourself to me, and so I'm judging what I'm looking at. Okay. I'm trying to do this for your benefit as well as mine.
Thank you.
Okay. Watches are another one with plastic bands, with nylon bands. Those are bad. The elastic bracelets you've got on.
Wedding band.
Wedding band is good. There's no problem with a wedding band. As far as an arc flash is concerned, electrical shock, if you're wearing your proper gloves, you're good. If you're in a cabinet barehanded, damn good conductor. I always take mine off. It goes in my change purse, goes in my pocket. My wife, even if I take this, I've been married for 28 years, I take this thing off, I'm still married. I mean, there's no doubt in your mind that I'm still married. But I take mine off and put it in my change purse. I generally take, I don't have my cell phone on me for some, oh my God, my wife ever found out, she'd kill me. Take your cell phone out of your pocket. Two reasons. Most of you have already heard this story. I was working at Franklin International, tight bond wood glue up here off 104. It was February. We got single phase by AEP. It killed one of our transformers, our 2 meg transformers. It was a long ass day. Got on the phone, found a 2.5 meg transformer, had it delivered. We had a 15 kV loop. I turned the 15 kV breaker off. I personally turned it off. I put a padlock on the loop. It's de-energized. I tested it's de-energized. Took the cables off, dead front elbows, craned that transformer off. I am in Carhartts. I am cold as hell. And we're craning the new transformer in, and I've got the elbows, I got the 200 volt amp elbows in my lap, okay? And my pager goes off on vibrate, all right? I did not piss myself. Okay? I was close. First thought was I'm dead. Okay? My wife was paging me to find out if I was okay. Yeah. All right. Everyone in this room knows that it's not necessarily when you have your hand in a 120 volt panel that you get hurt because of the bite. It's generally the fillet that you get off your arm when you jerk it out because you just touched something you shouldn't have, okay? It's that reaction that you can't control that gets you hurt, okay? That's why I always take my cell phone out of my pocket, always. Most of the time I take my cell phone out of my pocket. There are times when I don't remember, okay? But my phone's on vibrate now. It never ceases to fail. It'll go off while I'm doing an energized work. Scares me to death, Okay, so another thing to remember. Correct personal protective equipment. You go up, you see that there's a label. You read what the label is. You say you need category 3. You go get your NFPA 70E, right? Everybody has access to NFPA 70E. Everyone has access to NFPA 70E. You have access to NFPA 70E, correct? You find days, okay. Last time I was here and did this presentation, I got handed 2 of them to you guys. Okay, I'm hoping you still have them. Okay. Also provided NFPA 70B as well. I know I provided one to Jeff, provided one to you guys too, right?
Yep.
So you have that. All right.
Yep.
I provided you guys with a 1-line, correct?
Do you have an extra one though?
I have 3 more I'm going to hand out to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. I also provided you with the latest. When I say latest, the 2010 arc flash study, correct?
Yes.
All right, I got 3 more I'm going to hand out to you because I figured you guys lost them.
I think I lost mine too.
And there's no doubt in my mind. All right, so all this is the important stuff that you need in order to go make sure that you have what you need and you have the protection levels that you need, and you can look at it and say, I have to be wearing up to 25 kcmil, 25 gals per centimeter squared arc flash equipment. What does it need in order to make that? Can I do it in layers? Does it have to be one piece, okay? And do I have it? Well, it's actually up to the plant to make sure that you've got it, provide it for you, okay? For me, I just have to make sure that I provide it for myself. So appropriate, correct personal protective equipment for the workers. Now, does that mean to say that you need to wear 25 cals per centimeter squared suit and you have a 40 cals per centimeter suit? Does that mean that they need to go buy you a 25 cals per centimeter suit? No, you can wear the 40. You can wear 100 if you want to. Extra protection is always nice. Appropriate tools for safe working. Those of you who've seen this little demonstration, this is a 600 volt screwdriver, right? Looks very familiar, okay? This is also a 600 volt screwdriver that I have taken out of service because it is banged up, it is in bad state of repair, okay? So now this is my prying tool, okay? Is this a 600 volt screwdriver? That's some of 3M's best, right? There's 4, I believe. I have to admit, I did this in my past. We're twisted up down here. Yeah, I know, and with needle nose pliers and other things, but this is not an appropriate electrically insulated screwdriver, okay? So they're... we'll talk rather in depth on gloves here in a little bit, okay? This is a wonderful flashlight. It's a mag light. These things work like a champ. It even works, which I'm happy because usually I drop these things and my bulb just stops. Aluminum iodized casings. These are the most wonderful conductors in the world when you drop them phase to phase inside of an MCC or a transformer, aren't they? Yeah. If anybody finds a really good plastic flashlight that lasts more than 1 or 2 drops, let me know, because I have yet to find one. They do rubber encase these, by the way. Does it last more than 1 or 2 drops? Well, I won't be able to breathe 100 feet down deep. The last thing on this list is training. They need to provide you training.